Hello everyone and welcome to another video from Kasum. I'm quality engineer for New Product Productions and Rosrellas. And today we're tackling our last Minitab Basics for Beginners video. As we talked about during the previous lessons, within Minitab you are able to create graphs and you're able to do statistical analysis of your process control data. Now, one of the most common tools you're going to need is called Gage R&R. A gauge R&R is a way for you to test if your measurement system is repeatable and reproducible. That tool is contained within Stat and Quality Tools. Now, the Quality Tools tab is one of the most used tabs within Minitab. It contains run charts, Pareto charts, cause and effect diagrams, which are Ishikawa diagrams. It contains tools to identify non-normal data distributions, Johnson transformations, capability analysis, and also something that we call six-pack capability. All these previous tools are advanced tools that you can use within Minitab. Now, additionally, and for today's purpose, we have Gauge Study. The Gauge Study submenu allows you to structure a Gauge R&R study, which is a repeatability and reproducibility study. Now, the first step of a Gauge R&R study is to actually plan your study. So you would use this option known as Create Gauge R&R Study Worksheet. Now, within Create Gauge R&R Study Worksheet, you can structure how many parts you're going to analyze, how many operators you're going to have, and how many replicates you're going to use. For most scenarios, we use 10 different parts, 3 different operators, and we also use 3 different replicates. From here, we can either name our parts or just keep the default scenario, which is part 1, part 2, part 3, and so on until part 10. And on operators, you can also name your operators. For example, I can say Andres, and I can call this one Carlos, and this one can be called Carla. Now, after I name my operators, my part numbers, and the number of replicates, I can click on this OK option, and that's going to create my worksheet. All I need to do is add a results column to this, so I'm going to call this one results. Now, what I would do is grab part number 6, give it to Andres, and record his result. Let's say 4.5. Next, I would grab part 3, give it to Andres, and record his result. This is going to continue until Andres has finished measuring all 10 parts, and then I'm going to move over into Carlos's territory. Carlos will measure all 10 parts again, the same 10 parts that Andres measured, and then we will record Carlos's result. Afterwards, we will go over to Carla, our third operator. We will give her all 10 parts to measure, and then Carla will report her results. After finalizing, this is what we call the first repetition. I will now call Andres back into the room, give him the parts, and ask him to measure the parts again 10 times. His results will consist of his second repetition. Afterwards, we'll go over to Carlos and Carla, and after each of them measures the parts again, that finalizes the second repetition. And then we do our third repetition with again Andres, Carlos, and Carla measuring all 10 parts a third time. In total, you would get 90 measurement results because you had 10 different units multiplied by 3 operators multiplied by 3 repetitions. So in total, 90 results. Now, to practice with random data, we're going to use an online simulator contained within KasumAcademy.com. I'm going to click here on the Simulators tab, and here I can use this Gauge R&R caliper simulator that I have available here. We also have additional Gauge R&R test simulators, but those ones are in Spanish, as you can see here. Now, I'm going to set up my study. I'm going to select my caliper that's going to be analyzed. So I'm going to type in 1 and my operator who's going to execute this study. I'm going to start my simulation, and now all 10 units or 10 parts are going to be measured once. That is the first repetition of operator number 1. Now I'm going to change to my second operator, and do everything again, all 10 parts. So those results are recorded here, operator number 2. And now we're going to do operator number 3. So I'll type in number 3 here, and then I'll click on Start Simulation. As you can see, I'm not modifying the caliper being used. I'm only modifying who is measuring. Now I have operator 1, 2, and 3, and this is my first repetition. I will now clear out this operator number and type in 1 again. So this is going to be the second repetition of operator number 1. I'll change this to a number 2, second repetition of operator 2, and I'll change this to a number 3, second repetition of operator 3. So far, I have 60 results, and you can tell which operator measured the unit in this column right here on the left side. Now, going back up here, I'm gonna now move over to operator 1, operator 2, and operator 3. You don't need to wait until this simulation finishes executing. You can just change the number, and the results will already be recorded on this table right here. Now, I'm gonna copy my table results. So I'm just gonna highlight all my information and move over into Minitab again. I'm just gonna paste it here. And you can see I have my operator column, C1, my part number column, C3, and my actual result column, that will be C4. So all I need to do now is I have my study finalized. I will now analyze it. So I'll do a simple stat, quality tools, gauge study, and then I'll do gauge R&R study crossed. From here, I'll select my part number column, which is C3, my operator column, which is C1, and my tension result column, which is C4. Afterwards, my output is contained right here. Now, how do I read this? Well, you can use it based on your corporate standards or an international standard. The most common standard is the Automotive Industry Action Group, AIAG, MSA-4. Based on this standard, we're going to look at this percent contribution position, this percent study variation position, and this number of distinct categories position. Let me just fix my zoom. There we go. So I'll look at this value, and this value. So general rule, if this value is less than 9%, then it's a good model. In this scenario, it is 0.55%, which is a lot less than 9%, so it's a really good model. Now, from here, I have 7%. If this value is less than 30%, it is considered, again, a good model. In this scenario, 7.4% is less than 30%. So again, everything looks okay. In number of distinct categories, if this number is greater than 5, it's considered a good model. In this scenario, 18 is greater than 5, so again, my model looks accurate. Now, I can scroll down and I'll see this graph right here. Ideally, visually, you want to make sure that part-to-part variation is bigger than the results shown here. That means that the variation that I'm measuring is a result of parts being different amongst themselves. Part 1 is different from part 2 is different from part 3, and so on and so forth, instead of being caused by issues in repeatability or reproducibility of my measurement system. We also want to make sure that our operators measure similarly amongst themselves. So I want this R chart to be similar between operators. So operator 1, 2, and 3 should be roughly around the same width. I want to make sure that my results shown here, the gray dots are on top of the blue bar itself. If they are following the overall result, that is acceptable. Now, it does not mean that you need a chart that goes up or that is going down. What we are referring to is that this blue line here in the middle represents the trend of the overall results. And this blue line, oops, I made it a little bit too big. Let's make it, let's say 4 on the size chart. There we go. we want the little gray dots shown here to be on top of the blue line itself. Now, for the box plots, we want them to be overall the same size and in the same position. If any operator is a lot, mismatched, he has results a little bit higher or a little bit lower, and that is going to introduce issues of reproducibility. And lastly, we look at this chart right here. If this chart has most of the results on top of one another, that means that we are following the same pattern among operators. Again, you do not need the lines to be going up or the line to be going down. What we're referring to is that the green dots, the red dots, and the blue dots are aligned on the overall total result. In terms of this X bar R chart, this one right here, we want to make sure that the results actually exceed the upper and lower control limits. This means that part-to-part variation is actually a difference between part results and not because of our measurement system. So we want to make sure that parts are actually different amongst themselves and that we are able to measure those differences. Now, just as a reference, I'm going to add more data from more operators to show you how variation would impact that graph. So I'm going to do 3 repetitions of a 4th operator, 3 repetitions of a 5th operator, and 3 repetitions of a 6th operator. So I'm going to grab all my results. So all the information contained here. I'm going to place it on a new worksheet right here. Now I'm going to do stat, quality tools, gauge study, crossed, and I'll just re-execute. My results are a little bit different from before. I now get a lot of percent contribution. 23% is not less than 9%. So we fail. This is not a good result. Study variation of 48% is not less than 9%. So again, we fail this rule. And the number of distinct categories currently says 2. Which is not greater than 5. So again, we failed this rule. So overall, the results that I'm getting are not really good. Now, was it because of a repeatability issue or a reproducibility issue? We can see here that part-to-part variation, right, is measurable, but we seem to have a large reproducibility bar right here. Reproducibility means that we have differences between operator 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now, who's at fault here? Well, if I look at this box plot right here, I can see that I have a lot of outliers, which are these little asterisks shown here. So again, I'm not following the overall trend with everyone's results. If I look at the R chart, I can see here that operators 4 and 5 actually seem to have a different behavior when compared to the behavior of operators 1, 2, 3, and 6, for example. Now, in terms of part-to-part itself, we are able to measure differences between the parts because they are visually different. So this chart is actually a good result. But again, if I look here at the tension result by operator, I can immediately see that operators 4 and 5 have results that are a little bit larger than the results from operators 1, 2, and 3, and the result of operator 6. Lastly, if we look at this graph, which I personally believe is one of the most important ones, we can see that there is a mismatch between expected value and actual value. So expected value and actual value. In essence, my operators 4 and 5 tend to report SPART as being bigger than they actually are. Well, that concludes our Minitab Basics for Beginners video series. If you have any questions related to Minitab, quality control, or data analysis, please visit KasumAcademy.com and schedule a one-on-one consultation with me, quality engineer for New Power Productions, Andres Ruelas. Well, everyone, thank you for your attention and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye, team.